Greetings everyone, hello and welcome back to Manor Lords, to one of my all-time favorite city builders at this point, and welcome back to probably the biggest update this game has received so far. We're already looking at one of the new maps that came in with this update, and it's a beautiful, gorgeous map with a huge lake in the center, towering mountains in the background, lots of forests and resources. And beside all of that, if you're looking closely, you can also see something else, and that is that other players are on this map. Here, for example, we have one of my opponents that is starting to settle here right away. And a bit further down on this map, we do have the exact same picture over here. In total, there are 3 opponents on this map that are competing with us. I have no idea how we interact with them later. Do we need to conquer them? Do we need to trade? Or do we even have diplomacy in this game now? We'll just see and find out all about this as we're heading back to our starting location. And this game received with this update so many changes that I actually didn't even test all of them, right? So there's so many things. We got a new UI, or well, partially new overlays, more beautiful things. We got new specializations for our villages and cities. We have environments now on this map with meadows and woodland and farmland and whatever we can choose for, wherever we can settle. That is that. We have an overhaul of the resource system that we're also going to check out. And yeah, in the middle of all of that, it's us once again with this small camp right over here. And of course, the goal is to start a beautiful medieval village and even then a city down the road. Let's just have a quick look at the territory that we're in. So the game is still divided into territories. We can also have a closer look up here. This has also been overhauled. Beautiful now, I think, and we can also see all the different fertilities that we have. So that was a lot of work they put in here. Looks very sophisticated. I think we do have some iron, some stone, clay, berries, and fish. We do not have any wild animals. That's a problem for leather production, but it's a problem I'm sure we can overcome. There's also a beautiful smaller pond over there that we can use for fishing. By the way, the graphics have also been improved again with that. Performance is just absolutely flat stable, which is beautiful. And look where we are here on this beautiful cliff, and right here we can definitely, well, build a city along those cliffs. Of course, I don't want to babble too long now here. We really need to get started. Let's start with our first basic roads. For this, we're gonna take into account here all of the resources that we have close by. So we can see that we have some berries over there, the fish, and the stone. And for the very first industry, of course, that we built, that's the logging camp. I gotta make sure that we take the forest. That does not cut away the berries though, right? So we need to take the forest, but not the berries. We also have this pond here. So I wanna preserve some of that idyllic scene that we have over there. So just chopping away all the trees here is not an option for me, right? This area here at least we could keep available, whereas this area is probably going to be cut away over time together with the berries. Let's get going. We do have the pond over there for my fish that I would definitely like to take in, and then we get our first main road kind of like here along those resources all the way then into this area here. Here we do have then our first field camp, so I would probably like to have my first market somewhere here as well, right? Wonder if that is too big. Nah, that looks fine. Also down here we got the clay pit, so let's also make sure that we do keep a road available all the way to it, because there will be a mining site then at some point. And so it's also important to start with our first industry, which is the logging camp, of course. The logging camp is going to get moved again over time, but for now I think I'm just going to have it somewhere here. The reason for that is that we can cut away this area here, which we need to cut away, right, to expand our city. But at the same time, I'm trying to preserve those berries here as long as possible. So that's something. At some point we'll need to move them over here, and then we also will have a reforestation area somewhere there. But that's a long way off indeed. Besides the logging camp, let's also just have the woodcutter working for us right away. It's always safe to just go ahead and also build me a road here, where we have then the woodcutter's lodge. And also what we can already start with is the fisherman's hut somewhere over here towards that pond. It's beautiful spring weather, just perfect for the first construction. Now look at that view that we have over there. And if you're just up for a little hike, you can also just walk all the way there to our beautiful, glorious cliffs that we have overlooking that lake. There's just no other game like this. That logging camp really is the foundation of everything. It's the most important early structure, so it's important that we get this going right away. There it is, and assign 2 families to this to get enough logs out of that. Very important, what we need to do here is define the work area. So it's going to be this one here that we want to chop away without affecting the berries, which are here. Can we see them? I think we can see them if we're looking close, but there's no overlay or anything like that. My berry bushes, there they are. Still, we have 3 families left. One is now finishing the woodcutter lodge. We should also work on some water. For this, we get the water vein layout or overlay to see where we can have our first well. And I probably would like to have this as centrally as possible right over there to get the water into any location in the city. And this is also with the logging camp where the first new addition comes visible right away, or one of the major additions, and that is that industrial buildings now need tools as a maintenance. And we can also assign then how much maintenance they get. If they're not maintained, they will have a reduced effectiveness over time. And right now we have a normal maintained status on the logging camp. This is 1 tool per year that it costs me, right? And we are starting with 8 tools right away. But you can see that we will need to provide tools pretty soon. I might actually, just to do it, put this one to low maintenance for the moment, until we have a steady tool supply or production going here. Woodcutter lodge has been finished. Also gonna assign someone to this right away and assign also a work area. And for this, I might actually just go over here for this work area, where I can find some firewood for the first winter that we need to prepare for. It's March, winter is still a bit off, but of course, it always comes faster than you anticipate. And very important, the fisherman, let's assign someone to that right away. He will now start fishing at the pond. It's a rich fish deposit that we have over there. And this will provide food, which we need because we are running out of it in 3 months' time. And as always, it's a full family that is assigned to a building, not single workers. That means husband, wife and kids need to work this one. Basic industry is set up. We wait for a bit of timber now. The first trees are falling right over here. And this is also just really cool. They need to chop the trees themselves then to generate logs for us. And these logs will need to be transported with the oxen back to the city, or yeah, the village. Let's call it a camp for the moment. Once we have the first 10 timber, it's time to start building burgage plots, the first homes. I think this is a great location for them, and that's 6 burgages in fact, so that we have all 5 families housed, plus 1 in addition that can move in. And yeah, let's go ahead and build this one right away. Gonna take quite some time to get a smaller neighborhood like this going. For this we need an available family. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna unassign a family from the logging camp that focuses on construction work now. Yeah, gonna take some time. The oxen needs to get the logs over there. 1 out of 2. Where's the construction worker starts? So this is husband and son actually, right? And the wife gets the oxen and gets the logs over. I just love the system behind all of that. I have never seen this before, and it's just working so well. And it's always a lot fun to watch all of that as a family works on that, on building something or producing goods or fishing. You know, that's the fun of it. Yeah, they're quite busy with digging. It's gonna take them some time. It's April now, plenty of time. No one will freeze outside this winter. Ah, very good. Also, no one will starve as more fish is coming in now. So we have this one here, 27 fish right now. The problem with the fish, of course, is that the spoilage is very high. But this would be a problem later down the road, having fish without any storage, right? Because it's spoiling rather quickly. But in a small village like this, it's fine, especially since we have a rich fish deposit. We can definitely let some fish spoil as well. They're just regrowing again anyway. The first home is being finished already, while the wife brings the logs to the next construction site. This one here has been finished, and the first family moves in. And what we can see here right away as well is, yeah, this has been overhauled, right? We have now different categories here for food, for fuel, and for services. And we see that we need forage goods, that's vegetables, grains, and fruits for this one. And we need meat, like fish or animals, out of this one here. All of this needs to be fulfilled for this building here to level up to tier 2. Fuel, church, and water. The water is already there, the fuel is already there, and the first food type is already there, that's meat. So we need to work on a second type of food then as well. Perhaps we can actually make this work this year, that would be lovely. Bit of rain that damages my supplies, especially my logs, firewood, and especially also my fish. Nothing I can do about this right now. Just fish more, I guess. The homes are coming along splendidly. We have a lot of logs in stock, so that means I can assign a second construction team now to building a saw pit, which is my next industry building. Let's also have this one right here beside my firewood cutter. And this will then process logs into planks, my next construction material. Also, all of this has been overhauled, right? Different categories now. More visible, I think. Beautiful work. Very good. As the next home is about to be finished, more and more families can move in now. We have one more homeless after this. And that also improves my approval rating now. As we can see, homelessness is the biggest factor here right now. We want to keep this above 50% so people move in. New people move in. Another thing I can prepare already then is the stone gathering camp somewhere over here. And with the next burgage, we've actually leveled up to a small village. And with that, we probably should give this village now a name. And of course, as usual, it's going to be Sleepy Hollow. And we can now unlock our very first origin. And this is really interesting, right? We can now have an origin of this village that has a focus on something, right? Like the Bamberg smallholders. Driven from Bamberg by the bishop's heavy tithe, we learned to keep our hearths warm and our table full by our own hands. And as we can see, this has different outcomes now. We have an upgrade here for the burgage plots that get the small holding upgrade. That treat their backyards as permanent jobs, increasing their yield. This increased the approval rating from food variety, increased the success chance of tree planting, but the tithe approval malus is increased with that. There's a total of 9 origins right now, so lots of stuff to choose from. And since we have only a limited amount of iron, I'm actually going to go with the Regensburg guildsman. We settled here as we have always traded with ledgers in hand and profit in mind. The Danube carried wealth to Regensburg, and so it flows in us. Our houses rise with little, our purses swell with plenty, and our bargains always hold true. And this one increases the regional wealth we gain from burgage plots. I like this. It reduces the burgage plot upgrade cost, and this is important. Salt and iron ore import value is reduced by 30%, thus getting cheaper for us. However, the land tax approval malus is increased. Yeah, land tax is usually something I'm not using that much. The smiths of Passau are also really nice. They give a blacksmith efficiency, once again something we would need. As we heavily rely on tools this time around. You don't need to choose one though now, right? So I can just close it and come back to this later. And I think, since there's so many options, I think I'm just gonna wait, because there's no hurry, right? We're still only in tier 1, and I want to wait what the biggest penalty will be. But as we can see, iron is definitely the problem here, because you need a lot of iron in this game, and we don't have an endless deposit. So I'm probably gonna go with the Regensburg smiths, but we'll just see. Okay, there's the saw pit. Let's assign a family to that immediately to provide now the planks that we need for our stonecutter camp. And as we can see, the maintenance status here is pretty high with 2 per year. I'm already gonna work on my next neighborhood improvement, or yeah, extension, and that's this one here. I love that we can draw them along the backpack, right? Or the backyards here of these houses then, and just then turn them around so they look towards the road. It's not gonna be that dense though. Probably gonna make it like so to fit this area here, right? And then we just built that lot there as well. The trees disappear automatically, and let's also have now this road going all the way then here along that forest area. With the next progress plots finished, we now finally have more workforce. That is over 16 now, and with that 3 families that we can assign. And we need that workforce, of course, to start building a storehouse for all that industry, and also a granary for all the food. And let's keep a bit of a distance between them, as we're also going to upgrade them. They're getting a bit bigger over time, and this area is just getting bigger over time as well, then as a rule of thumb. And it also needs to be close, of course, to my industry zone to keep transportation times short. So as we can see, this area has been cut away now, and that makes it possible for us to also get some roads now going then and connecting those. The storehouse and the granary will then provide the market stalls. So in this case here, we can also now assign a market area that I haven't done yet. So it's of course going to be this central area here that we have. And let's just check it out. There you go. And we have room for 54 stall locations for market stalls. That's quite a bit. A strong militia is paramount to the survival of any settlement. Luckily, a shipment of weapons has just arrived, and you will now be able to create your first militia. Okay, 20 spear, 20 shield. And with that we can create a, I think a spear militia it is, right? The polar militia? No, it's the spear militia. There they are, 12 of them. Bear in mind, that's my people, right? So I can rally them, and then they will gather, and then we will fight for us if there is a bandit attack or so. But of course, that would reduce my efficiency because these people can't work then. So I will need to wait on that. Very good. The storehouse is coming along. This is being stored now in here. Just waiting for the granary now. One more log. And the granary is also finished. Let's assign a family to the granary and a family to the storehouse. And since it's August, we should also start now preparing the berries. So I'm going to go ahead with a forester hut. Over there we have the berries situated nicely. And yeah, let's have the forester hut, or the forager hut, sorry, right next to it then. And with the storehouse now working, the family here is also getting divided again. 2 are transporting, and 1 is going to have a market stall. And there we have them now. The first ones appearing in, well, my future town center. Not the best weather to set up shop, but summer is just beginning. Also, the stone gather camp finished, and with that we have now a family that cuts away the stone here, which we're gonna need for our next buildings. This is only 117, so this will run out rather quickly, and then we can also get rid of the camp again. The storehouse is filling up nicely, and the market is brimming with goods. Some firewood is being sold here, some fish and berries. And we should also be seeing the effect on this right away. That is now that these 2 goods have been fulfilled, the fuel has been fulfilled, and the water access has been fulfilled. So there's only one more thing that's missing here, and that's the church. Another thing I would like to start right away, before winter actually, and that is starting my first Go chats. So in that, the problem here is that we need leather with tier 2. We do not have any hunting grounds. That means no hunters and no hides coming from them. So we need the hides from animal pens. Let's have a look at that. I would definitely like to upgrade some further away plots, like this one here that already have families inside. And this has also been overhauled a bit. It now costs me the animal pen, for example. Everything here costs me now planks. And then we need to order the animals with the wealth that we have. So we got 50 wealth, 50 coin that we can use for that. Animal pen number 1. And is there someone living in here? Yes, animal pen number 2. Also, we now have the apiaries that we can put into that, right, to produce honey and wax down the road. There's no apiary building anymore as far as I know. Only 6 tools remain, and the first buildings then are running out of them. The durability is going down. That means they will consume another piece of tool then. That is very, very problematic for us, because if I'm running out of tools, my industry will collapse. Let's continue with adding this, or yeah, building this road all the way down here to this iron deposit that we have. And I'm gonna actually start right away with it, sooner than usual, right? Because usually I'm waiting with the iron production and finish other things first, like a church. This time though around, we need to really get this going. The iron mine itself also consumes 1 tool. It's gonna build right on top of that. And we also need to start with the first iron industry, which is the bloomery, and then also the blacksmith. The bloomery also needs a tool. Then we're down to 4 tools now. The animal pens have been finished over here. And we can now assign this one here to a goat. The goat will then also provide me with hides. The pig doesn't do that. The pig only provides me pork. But the goats provide me chevron and hides. And this is what I need. So I'm gonna go ahead and get me my hides going here. And my hides, my goat going here. So with the 50 coin we had, we can now afford 2 goats. That's it, right? Or 2 set of goats, right? And over time, we will be able to slaughter them and get me some hides out of them, which is super important. The mine has been finished. We can assign a family now. That is now producing, or yeah, cutting out the iron ore here, mining it. By the way, do we have the planks? We do have the planks. I would like to start now with the bloomery. Very, very loud and dirty building. I would probably like to have this one a bit further away. Over here then. Together with the blacksmith. The berries are running out now, as we are in October. Autumn is starting. And look at that. We are primarily having pine trees here. But normal trees, they just turn beautiful. But since we're situated up here in the mountain area, we do not have that. I think this is also really interesting, that we have these environmental differences on the map. It always seems to be raining on my plateau. But we finished the bloomery nonetheless, and let's assign a family to this right away. With that we have 10 working families now. And that's a lot of tools it costs me per year. The bloomery. It will now require the iron ore, but also fuel. So we will have now a lot of people assigned, 6 in total now, to the woodcutter lodge, right? Because we need firewood for fuel as well. Not only for heating the homes now during winter, but also now for my area here. Smithy is still under construction, but we should have a lot of stone. We have the rubble stone stored in my storehouse. Winter is approaching. That's dangerous. And yeah, we don't have that much fuel actually. Only 3 months of fuel supply. Let's push the tool consumption for the woodcutters to push their production. The berries no longer work, so we can unassign the family here. In the first version of the game, funnily enough, if you unassign them, you also lose the market stall, right? And the berries would just sit around. Now the granary takes the berries, the granary family takes the berries and the fish and provides the market stall. I think this is a much better system. because I can, you know, move people around in my industry zone. The bloomery has started to work. The iron ore is in, producing iron slabs, and the blacksmith is there. We can now assign the family from the forager, from foragers to smiths, and they're working here now. They also need fuel, unfortunately, and they will then produce me tools out of that. Fuel supply is going up though now, so hopefully it continues to rise from now on. But we're in the beginning of winter, of course, so that's another thing. Last but not least, the last production or construction for this year is probably my tier 1 church. There we have it. And I think this is a great location here, right by the market, in the center of my village. It's gonna be very long construction. And I'm so happy to see that we produced the first tool in the smithy. Going up now to 6 tools on my storage. Lovely. We have at least avoided that problem for now. It's gonna be interesting to how my fuel, you know, works with now 2 buildings that consume fuel. We'll just see. And so it is. Winter's upon us. Beautiful. And the first snow is coming down. Just to give you an idea of the different environments on the map, once again, we're looking at the lake all the way down here, where there's a slight fog appearing in the background. But if we go higher, up on a plateau, for example, like here, we can see there are clouds around us, right? That is also a lovely detail. I think it's not that good to see on the YouTube video, but there's clouds up here, whereas there's only fog down there. Also, yep, snow is coming down and my lake is freezing. So also, fishing will not be possible now. But we should be stockpiled on that. The church just needs 1 more log. And my construction family continues to finish this one.
That axe really needs some sharpening. Need to hoist this timber to the gable.
There it is. Sleepy Hollow has its own church. You will also notice that the sky is dynamic, right? This is one of the few city builders that I know that actually uses a dynamic skybox. So those clouds are being rendered in real time and not a fixed skybox. I know Pax Romana is also going to have this feature, for example. Now, there it is, the wooden church. We can upgrade this one later to a stone church. For now, though, it's just working. We don't need to assign someone to that. I think this hasn't changed. Right, this is just someone that is a grave digger that we can assign if we lose people that, you know, dig some graves then. Outside of that, people are going to the church now themselves whenever they please. And in that case, this provides now the last fulfillment to the church, and we can now upgrade our first mortgage plots. And yeah, I think we can do this. The inner ones here especially, I would like to upgrade. Let's upgrade 3. Once again, this is going to take some time. Do we have some hides in already from the goats? Yes, 2 hides are coming in already. Very good. Gonna need them soon. Also, my storehouse is getting rather full. Let's upgrade it. Yeah. Construction or renovation or expansion of those plots. Starts with this one here, it seems. Lots of planks we need for that. We're gonna need 2 of them to upgrade to a medium village. And yeah, it seems to be cold, but we have enough fuel. That was an interesting message. I think it's these houses here that complain right now because they're being upgraded. It's very cold at the moment. January it is. And there's the first one, about to be finished now. Burgage plot level 2 it is. Now we have a few more demands. Beverages we need. We need an upgraded church. We need clothing. We need more food variety for vegetables. And fruits we need. I think the fruits changed. That's new. And with the second one being upgraded now, we level up our village. The medium village. It's time for the next neighborhood. And I probably would like to have it now here. So that we go around that market. Now, for this I would like to do something, and that is houses with a higher density and no garden in the background, right? So it's gonna be like this would be a huge garden in the back, but these here don't have that, right? And I would like to do this at least for the inner ones, so that we get a higher density block out of that. Because I want this one here to look like a city, a proper one. And we can do the same thing on the other side. We still have lots of gardens left, right? Vegetables, by the way, also need now regional wealth. So for now, I cannot build vegetable gardens anyway. So it's gonna take a long time, or a lot longer than before, to fill in those gardens. Because it needs a lot of coin now. This gives me room to actually also get me some density here going. Yeah, we can also then start moving the well now. In here, right? Because there's a water vein here. I would like to use this spot so that we don't need this well here anymore. You cannot move the well, by the way, so we need to destroy it. Another thing that changes with the level 2 plots now is that we are generating regional wealth. There it is, right? These people are paying taxes more or less based on their happiness, and with that wealth we can then upgrade more gardens, for example, or yeah, start trading. The storehouse has been upgraded. That's very important. Provides now 2,500 storage, up from 500. And we can also assign more families here for more market stalls. Also, a bandit camp has just appeared over here. They're very close to us, so we can definitely expect an attack anytime soon. That means I will need to prepare yet another construction. Of course, we're talking about the manor house. In that case, it's a lot of planks though that we need. We've received reports of bandits, of raiders roaming the nearby lands. Track the movements. In 360 days, we're gonna get the first attack. That is now ticking down. Our spear militia grew from 14 to 20 now. That means, of course, the more people we have, the more people can also join the militia then. In that case, though, we are limited by 20 spears and 20 shields. So that's the max amount we have right now. And it is spring. Very good. We can also put the forager back to work. The berries are growing. The fisherman is working. One problem we already faced right away is that we do not have enough oxen. So we're quite overwhelmed with that, right? If we have construction going, the saw pit, for example, doesn't work because no one transports the logs over. In order to transport logs, you need an oxen. And one is really not a lot. So let's go ahead and upgrade the hitching post to a stable. We can do this over here. Costs me some planks. And then we can assign a second ox to my transportation empire. This little row of houses is finished. Beautiful. Right beside the market. Provide some more housing. And with some regional wealth that we have accumulated now, that's 12, I would also like to start transforming one of my burgages here to an artisan. So we have the gardens here, right? But you don't need to work the gardens for or animals or any kind of farming stuff. You can also work them with artisan stuff. So here we have, for example, the tailor workshop or the boyar's workshop. And this one here produces war bows and crossbows. Let's start. Stable is finished. In order to get though a second ox, we need 20 regional wealth. So I need to wait on that a bit. There, the boyar workshop already finished. Here in the backyard of this house. And now we have the ability to produce the war bows. up to a limit of, let's make 20 for now, so that I don't endlessly consume planks. And we can also say, keep at least a reserve of 20 planks available, so that he doesn't deplete all my wood, all my storage for planks. We always need to have some ready for construction as well. And this family here, they transform now into artisans, so they're only going to work this area here now, right? They're transporting resources here, producing, and that's it. They're not going to work anything else anymore. 22 tools we have at this point, very good. So we are definitely producing more tools than we consume. And we have 12 months of food and fuel supply at the moment. I could also deplete the stone deposit here. Now it's only 24 stone left. Gorgeous! The next construction should already be planned ahead, and that is that we're growing more and more, right? With more people, fish and berries alone will not be enough anymore. So we need to have another source of food. And of course, I'm talking about farming. Now, farming has a bit of an issue, because I've already checked my farming at the beginning of this game, of course. And that is that fertility right where we are is not particularly high, as we can see. Lots of red dots. The only good farm area would be right here beside the pond, right, which is a horrible location, honestly. And yeah, in that case, we can see that also this is not good for farming. And my opponent down here actually has a good farm area, but that's it. Now, it's not the end of the world though, because yellow area is also still fine. We can upgrade yellow area up to rye in the future, and that would be even in green. So there is a bit of farming to be possible here, and also up here, right? So this is green, and this is green for rye down the road later. For emmer that we use right away, it's only yellow, which is okay. It's okay. It's not ideal, but it's okay. By the way, barley, I'm very used to barley now always being red. It's ridiculous at this point, to the point where it's not even frustrating anymore. But I don't think I've ever had barley in my territory. Also no barley, no barley, no barley. There's some barley here, and that's it. This is actually, and oh, okay, down here. There are 2 territories only with barley possible on this map. Yeah, we will still need to work it somehow, honestly, to get ale, but that's in the future then, of course. So let's actually have the first farmhouse somewhere here, between the area where we can have some farming then down the road. Would be here. Right, and let's also immediately have then a road going all the way up to this point. Food really will be a problem on this map, as I can see, because there's also not going to be any hunting. So yeah, it's going to be my own vegetables, mostly. Outside of the farmhouse. 3 logs, it's going to take some time, get the oxen all the way over there. And very important, we can now start the construction of the manor house as well. The manor house should be in an area that we can defend easily. Right, so I think, of course, the cliffs we should use to our advantage. And that means that the manor house is probably going to stick around somewhere here, because we're then almost surrounded by cliffs. This one also goes all the way up here, so the bandits need to go up into that forest first before they get to us. And then we also have this narrow passage here for an attack that we can easily defend from. But overall, I think, yeah, having it somewhere here makes sense to me. Gonna move it around a bit. And then we can start with the basic formation. This will also disappear. It's a limited clay deposit. So yeah, we can always move it around again if I find a better spot, honestly. But for now, let's build it because we need to finish it. I need to have one to get my retinue going. We just commit. I don't add anything else to it at this point, right? It's already going to be pretty expensive. And let's have the road going away from it. Then into my road here somewhere. Might try to add some neighborhood here. That could be too dense. We'll see what we're gonna have here then. First, we want to finish the farmhouse anyway. We still have 280 days left for the attack. The farmhouse is sitting at 1 out of 3 logs. Let's also quickly check out, by the way, the AI villages. This is one of them. Pretty much our level right now. Started with some farming. No, hasn't started with farming yet. has built the manor house in a good location actually. Right here beside the lake. Nice to protect. He's definitely got a beautiful spot there. We got the southern neighbor all the way down here. Far away from the lake, in fact. Also got a beautiful location there. I like that river. And how he built a fisherman here. Nice. Very distinct territories we have. And then we got one more over here. He's also got his own pond. And he's also further away from the lake. And what is he growing over here? Yeah, fruit trees. As the farmhouse is nearing completion, we can now start with the first field setups then. And that's for emmer and then rye down the road. So I definitely want to, you know, take this one here for the rye and the emmer. So this is emmer now. And it's far away from the village, unfortunately. But what can you do about it? Yeah, we got the first one. And for rye, it makes sense then to have another field here. Going down here. And then we can have another field here. Set up. And then we have another one here, right? And farmhouse sits in the middle. We probably will grow some fields further. Yeah, some flax might be possible here. Really, it's not a good ground, not a good soil, but it's the best I can do right now. We need more families anyway to get the fields then going. This is then a project for next year, most likely, as we still need to grow a bit. So far so good. I'm loving the new update. Lots of changes. We haven't even touched most of the changes yet, by the way. And yeah, I hope you enjoy this one as Sleepy Hollow starts to grow and its competitors start to grow. And we continue in the next episode of Manor Lords with the latest update. Stay tuned.
Why do I have to carry this around?